So recently, in the last recap that we had, I had announced that we were going to be doing a side campaign because I thought it'd be great to just do like a one shot of some other game besides 5th edition D&D and be nice to just kind of give the DM a break for a week where he can just sit down and just play with the rest of us instead of doing all the usual DM least things, coming up with story and NPCs and challenges and everything, and running the games and or as it's also known, herding cats. But anyways, we get through it, and he's just like, "Can we make this a side campaign, like maybe like once a month or whatever?" So we kind of worked that out, and as I said in the previous recap, now the last Sunday of every month will be me running a Dark Matter Alternity campaign for anybody in our group who is interested in participating in it. And so far, it seems like we've got quite a bit of interest. There's already 2 characters made. My brother's been getting all excited in Discord. I haven't heard much else from him quite yet as of this recording. That will probably change by the time this video gets posted. And somebody else who is going to be joining in the one shot he's also just started asking me questions about the setting and creating characters and everything. So it's like, oh boy. So anyways, today I wanted to give you a few reasons, 5 reasons to be exact, why it would be a good idea for you. I'm looking one way because how the screen's set up. I got to learn how to just focus on the webcam, just not even look at UCam, webcam. Anyways, 5 reasons why you should consider running a side campaign for your group. Now, the first one that I thought of is, it gives you some more opportunity to learn and understand how the rules work. It's always a very good thing to really get to know the rules of whatever game you're playing, whether it's 5e D&D, Savage Worlds, the Star Wars role-playing game from Fantasy Flight, or any of the previous Star Wars role-playing games. Just any game, really. It's always good to know the rules, even if you're at least just getting the basics down. And this helps you as a player because then, you just do whatever you need to be doing without having, your DM or your GM walk you through it. So, as a GM, even for like a side campaign that's like happening every so often, or even for a one shot, you need to know the rules. You don't have to have every single thing memorized, but you need to know the system and the core mechanics and all that, at least well enough to make a decent judgment call when different things come up. And of course, you can then review the rules afterwards. There were a few rulings that I made in the one shot that did not fully sit with how the rules were written, but I was like, I didn't remember, so I decided to just go with what, best guess kind of a thing. And as you're playing the side campaign, you get to learn the rules more and more because you are going to be the one who is going to be the referee. You're the one who's going to be adjudicating and determining how stuff is done, how different actions are resolved, and everything. So again, not only will it help you with the rules, but it'll also help you to learn more of how to make fair judgment calls for everybody at the table. And this will tie in with another point, with one of the other reasons. Reason number 2, it gives your regular GM or DM, the guy who is actually putting everything together for you guys, a break. Yeah, you can actually have a chance to actually sit down and freaking play. It's like a consistent complaint with GMs. I've seen it all the time over the internet. They come up with all these really cool characters, but they're always stuck running the game, so they don't get to just play the one character. Now, I can tell you from a bit of experience, since I've done a bit of GMing in the past. Again, it was mainly one-shots. There are a couple of times where I tried to get a campaign going. It can be tough. But it's it's exhausting. It's actually kind of it actually does feel like a real break to actually just sit down and focus on just playing one character. You focus on that one little piece of the world and trying to collect the other little pieces, getting more information, all that as it goes on. And it can be very refreshing for future for the other games. And this is also great, giving your GM a break, because it's as you find out when you actually sit down to plan out, run a campaign yourself, even if it's a side one, there's a lot involved. I was like, for this one, I'm thinking, okay, I need to get brushed back up on the rules because I'm a little rusty with the old Alternity system. You got to get accustomed to the setting. You actually got to come up with plots and find ways to work all the player characters in and get them involved. Work through some of their individual stories and everything. And that is a lot to take on, especially if you're regularly doing a weekly game. Because they're having to do this thing every single week. So if you even give them a chance, even for like a one shot, but especially for like a side campaign, to have like 1 week where they don't really have to think about that, where they can just show up and play. Granted, they'll probably be so excited. I can guarantee you, your GM will most likely be so excited for the side campaign that they will be bombarding you with stuff about their character and what they would like to see happen with their character, just as much as you have hopefully been bombarding them for the regular campaign and your character. And this goes to my next point, number 3. This gives you the chance to experience the game from the GM's perspective. I've kind of touched on this before. You get to see how much work goes on behind the scenes. You get to see, all the stresses of, getting the group, getting the game organized and scheduling. 2 of the things that I'm probably the laziest at as a GM myself, which has been kind of nice to just actually sit down with and have like the regular group be the group for for this side campaign, and we've already worked out the scheduling and everything. That's all been done basically. The part that I have the hardest time with, you may not be quite so lucky. I can't guarantee that the scheduling will work out quite as well. We all know how that works out. But anyways, you get to see how tricky it is to make fair judgment calls for everybody, and keep everybody involved and excited and happy and having fun and everything. It's a lot of work, but it can also be very rewarding. I've been super excited just feeling the excitement from everybody else that's getting involved in this thing. That actually is a greater encouragement for me to actually get this thing done and do it. And also, those times, we've all done it, where we have done something that just kind of throws the whole, session off course, maybe even the whole adventure, sometimes even the whole campaign, just way off track, and you almost, you can actually see the GM just going, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to work around this? That kind of a thing. You're going to get to experience that. I did just in the one shot. There was all kinds of stuff that happened, and at one point, our DM actually laughed and said, "Oh man, that face you're making." He probably recognized it because it's the same face that he tries very hard not to make when we do the same kind of thing. And this also goes in with the next point here. Number 4 is, it helps you to work and kind of flex your imagination and storytelling muscles in a different way. Because there's a bit of a difference between just working out your character's place in the world and in the story, and actually having to work out the entire story and world's place within the world and story. So, you get to be creative in a whole different way, and that can help you with your improv with your improvisations, both as the GM and as a player. Because any extra exercise you can get for that, for your imagination, storytelling, improvisation, and all that, creative problem solving, is a very good thing for you as a player, as well as likely as a person. Ooh, something else we can talk about at some point. Not today, though. So, that could be a huge incentive there for you to actually try and get a side campaign going. And of course, maybe I'll touch on this after a bit. I want to get to this last one. And 5, this, running a one-shot or, doing a side campaign may give you a taste for GMing that you never knew you really had. I mean, yes, admittedly, it can be very intimidating to GM because you're having to do all the stuff you're needing to, because your main priority, your main responsibility is making sure that everybody has fun and that the game is run in a fair manner. I mean, GMs have a lot on their plate. There's a lot of things to juggle. But it can also be very rewarding and exciting as well, especially if your players are excited. I mean, if your players are excited to keep going, then you're doing a good job. No matter how well you really know the rules, because you can always get better at learning those rules that I talked about earlier. But again, give it a shot. You may find that you really enjoy being the GM. The funny thing is, I was just thinking that there was another thing I was going to talk about, but I already forgot it. So anyways, these are some reasons why it would be a very good thing for you to consider running a side campaign for your regular gaming group. I mean, you can work out the regularity, the consistency of it with your GM, with the rest of the group. See what works for everybody, so you can enjoy this side campaign and still be able to make healthy progress in the main one. Jeez, that last thing that I just thought of, it's like we're going to talk about it, but it just escaped me. So anyways, enjoy your journey as a player and really getting into the role playing and everything, and that journey. Also, maybe like I said, maybe some of these reasons stick out to you. Maybe there's some other reason why you just feel like you want to do a side campaign. I mean, I just thought of doing the one shot, like I said, mainly to give the DM a chance to just sit down and play with the rest of us, give him a break from his usual thing, and also because I just had a really nasty itch to run some Alternity. And now that itch is going to be getting scratched big time, so I'm having to get something together every month, and our DM gets a continuous break. So, we're both winning in that regard, and hopefully the other players who join in this kind of campaign will also win and get something out of it as well. So, as I said, enjoy your journey as a player, but also give being a GM a shot. You never know how it's going to turn out. You may even really enjoy it. That's all I have for now, so happy gaming and enjoy your trip to Legendary, however that works out for you. Because we still need to work that out, don't we? Yeah. Anyhow, see you next time.